Hey guys, before we get going, Solo here. I want to let you know we were sold out for the Discord server for a long time. I have just opened up new slots to the server, so grab them while they're hot. The link is going to be in the video description below. See you in there. Hey guys, how's it going? Solo back with another daily update video. Today is Saturday, so the market is closed, which means we can't trade Mara and we can't trade Riot. I want to do a throwback to a stock that we've been talking about a lot about a week or two ago. And that was Palantir. They've made some big moves recently. I took a look at the stock chart and I think it's gearing up for a big move. So let's get right into it. Like we always do, we'll talk about how Palantir traded on the last trading day. We'll show you some news articles. We'll do updated technical analysis. And at the end of the video, I'm going to show you the option flow data that you would normally have to pay hundreds of dollars a month for to see what the big money investors were doing with Palantir. So here's the heat map from yesterday on Friday, the last trading day. And just as a recap, you can see it wasn't a great day overall in the market. Overall red day, especially for big tech, especially for the semiconductors, the bank stocks, the financial stocks. Not a great day. Energy stocks were also deep red as well. But let's get right into the video. Let's talk about Palantir since we haven't looked at this in a while. So looking at the Robinhood graph on Palantir, you can see we did close today green on Palantir. So that's a rare occurrence. The overall market was red, but Palantir was able to survive. So Palantir finished up almost 2.9%. It was a choppy road, and we did have a pretty big sell-off during power hour. But at one point early in the morning, it was up almost 11.5%. Towards the afternoon, it was up over 8%. If it wasn't for this big sell-off into power hour, we would have been looking really good. And then after hours, take a look at that. We're still up over 1%, but we kind of peaked after hours being up another 3.4%. So kind of choppy trading. It seems like people can't decide what they wanted to do with Palantir yesterday. But on the week, you're still looking pretty good. You're up 5.2% on the week. On the month, you're just squeaking by, up 1.9%. 3 months, you're still going to be looking really good, up 160%. And on the year, of course, again, up about 160% as well. Let's take a look at the options chain to see if Palantir options are still juicy like they were before. So if you want to sell some puts, you want to start running the wheel strategy, or if you just wanted to see how good the premiums are in general, I always like to look at the at-the-money put to see what my return on risk is. And I always get a good sense of how high the volatility is or how juicy the option premiums are. So let's see. We're doing a weekly for next Friday, January 22nd. I would collect $99 in premium because this is times 100. And I would have to put up $2,550 in capital because that's times 100 as well. So my return on risk is going to be about 3.9%, 3.88, which is very good. It's not the highest I've seen. If you've seen my last videos, you know Riot, Blockchain, and Marathon Patent Group have returns on risk that are just through the roof. But it's not bad by any means. So the options are still pretty juicy on Palantir. Let's take a look at two news articles that I came across that are going to explain a little bit about why Palantir has not been doing so well on the week. If we go back to the weekly graph here, you can see kind of been selling off slowly up until yesterday, actually. And there's a reason for that. So the first article, this is from Market Watch, and this came out 2 days ago. So on Thursday, right before the big run up yesterday. And that is because Citigroup, they downgraded the stock. They initially had Palantir at neutral, but they then downgraded it. But the weird thing is that even though they downgraded the stock, they raised the price target. So initially their price target was $10 a share, and they raised it to $15, which is a little odd because they downgraded the stock on one side, but then they're saying, you know what, the stock is worth a little bit higher than we initially thought. So I don't know, take it for what it is. The reason why they downgraded the stock, they said that they believe the stock is vulnerable heading into 2021 with the upcoming lockup expiry. And if you've been following my videos in the past, you know I've been mentioning this, that some of these shares are not able to be sold until this lockup expires, and that lockup expires soon. So they're maybe worried that once people are able to sell a bunch of their shares off, they might do that, and then that's obviously going to cause the stock price to go down. The other risk that they see is these illness-related contracts, and they think that they're going to actually become headwinds in the second half of the year going into 2022. And they're worried about its commercial business, it says. So that obviously, the investors did not like that when a big group like Citi downgrades the stock. So that caused even more of a sell-off. But then there's another article here that came out yesterday. And this is titled, "Is Palantir Set to Break Out and Retest Highs?" And this is from The Street. So the interesting thing about this article is obviously we saw a decent rally yesterday on Friday. So I'm going to talk about the TradingView chart to do some technical analysis in a minute. And then we'll end the video looking at the option flow data to see what the big money investors did with Palantir on the last trading day. And they made a lot of moves, actually. So this article is saying that, again, they're saying Citi downgraded him to a sell rating. However, they are worried that the stock tried to break out a few times and was not able to. It's hitting a lot of resistance. But the one good thing, or maybe the one silver lining, or the reason why people are still excited about Palantir is this. If you're not familiar with Cathie Wood, she's been getting a lot of popularity lately for her ARK funds. So she's very tech heavy. She's into stocks like Tesla and Square, CRISPR, a lot of kind of disruptive companies and technologies. And she has a few ETFs for different things. And she has one ETF called the ARK Next Generation ETF. And the big news that came out is that she actually bought almost 500,000 shares of Palantir for her ETF. I believe the accurate number was around 471,000, but close enough to 500,000. So once Cathie Wood starts talking about stocks that she's going to buy, that stock almost always just goes up immediately. Just a few days ago, Cathie Wood also said that she's going to start a new ETF for space or space exploration. So right when that news came out, Virgin Galactic, or ticker symbol SPACE, SPCE, went up like 8 or 9% after hours. And it's still rising off that great news. So again, see Tesla, she's invested in Roku and Virgin Galactic now. So like I said, Palantir did go up almost 7% before it sold off during power hour. And here's a technical analysis graph that they did. And my graph, I'm going to show you, looks very similar to this. They're showing you a wedge pattern, which I'm going to show you in just a minute on TradingView. So they're concerned, though, that you can see a few times the stock has gone up to the top of this wedge, this blue line of resistance, but it's never broken up and out. It keeps hitting resistance. So that's what's scaring them a little bit. I have a different take on it. I think it's just a matter of time before we break out, and it might be a good buy opportunity if you want to either trade shares or trade options. So let's take a look at the TradingView graph on Palantir. So we haven't done updated TA on this in quite some time, but you can see I have my TA that I left from last time, and I have to say I was correct. I thought that we were pulling back, that we were going to bounce off resistance and keep going up. And look at this. That's exactly what happened the past week or two. So now I'm going to delete this. And the real question is, what's going to happen now? I'm going to delete also this area of trend because I think I'm going to draw an area of wedge, just like that article showed, but I'm going to draw it a little bit differently. I think there's a wedge that forming something like this for the top end. And then on the bottom, again, this is just a rough, crude estimate. So don't take every dollar value as an exact value. And then also on the bottom, I'm going to draw the wedge something like this from the bottom. Now, they drew it more like this in the article from kind of the middle. But either way, I think the effect is the same. So the point I want to make is it looks like we are getting narrower and narrower in this wedge. So when a wedge happens like this, that means the stock is usually going to break out, but it doesn't have to break out to the upside. It can break out up, but it can also break out down. So the real question is, which side do we think is going to break out on? Let me also extend these Fibonacci retracements out so it covers up the most recent data. And then my prediction is actually that I think it's going to break up because we just had this great news that Cathie Wood is going to, well, she already, I should say, bought 500,000 shares of Palantir to invest in her ETF. So that's a good news catalyst. And the other thing is, take a look at this. We're pretty much riding this 21-day moving average, which is the orange line. The pink line is the 50-day moving average. And this area of support. So we have two strong areas of support that it's going to make it hard, in my opinion, for Palantir to fall back down. It's going to have to go through both areas of support, this downward trend line, and maybe even this area of support, which is the 50-day moving average. The RSI doesn't help us that much because it's smack dab in the middle. So I think that in the coming days, meaning early next week, we're going to have a breakout on Palantir and maybe go up to the next area of resistance, which is around $27, $28. But that's my prediction on Palantir as far as the technical analysis. Let's take a look at the option flow data to see what the big money investors were doing with Palantir on Friday. So here's the trade UI platform that I like to use for my option flow data. And you can see we're looking at Palantir. 122 sweeps came in on Palantir just on Friday alone. Let's take a look at some of the big money sweeps that came on to see what the investors are thinking. Towards the end of the day, here's one for $122,000. The green boxes are call options that were bought. The red boxes are put options that were bought. So this is a bullish bet. This is a 30 strike call option. At the time, Palantir was trading at a little over $25.67. So that's bullish. That's for a March expiration. So someone is betting about 120K that Palantir is going to get to 30 or higher in about the next 2 months. Here's another $122,000 option. Again, 30 strike a little bit sooner in about a few weeks, actually, February 5th expiration, but it's a call option, so that's bullish. So I'm seeing a lot of bullish plays right now. So here's a put option for $227,000 with a $25 strike. So that is below the current share price of around $26. And that's a little bit of a bearish play. It's an at-the-money put that someone is betting on that Palantir is going to drop somewhere between now and March 19th. That's not very good for the bulls. Here's another option for $282,000. This is definitely a bullish option, a $40 strike for May of this year. So someone is betting big that Palantir is going to get to 40 or more in the next few months. So I'm seeing obviously a mixture of bullish and bearish plays, but overall, there are way more bullish plays for big money than there are bearish plays. So it seems like the big money investors are seeing what I'm seeing and thinking that Palantir is going to break out of this wedge to the upside, especially, like I said, because Cathie Wood is now investing in this for her ETFs. Let me know in the comments below if you still have shares or options open on Palantir and what they are. Are you going to hold? Do you agree or do you disagree? Do you think Palantir is going to keep going up? Do you think it's going to break to the downside? As always, make sure you join our Discord server. Add me on Twitter, Instagram, Reddit, StockTwits. But most importantly, I hope you have a green trading day.